Something is happening in Foxborough that a lot of people still don't grasp, Patriots fans. From a locker room full of guys fueled by doubt, to an undrafted rookie nobody mentioned now wrecking protections, to a possible blockbuster move and a heated MVP race, this feels like the start of a new era. Either you believe now, or you'll have to swallow it later. You won't believe what we've got today, so sit down, hit that like button, and let's get straight into it. If there's one thing this season has made crystal clear, it's that a lot of people massively underestimated the New England Patriots. After back-to-back 4-13 seasons, analysts were saying that if this team just doubled last year's win total, it would already be a miracle. Then Mike Vrabel walked in, changed the energy in the building, reset the culture, and suddenly that limited roster started playing with a different hunger and identity. Even with the record they have right now, there are still people doubting. The difference is this group learned how to turn disrespect into fuel. K'Lavon Chaisson said it going into the bye week. They hear everything that was said before week 1. With social media blowing up 24/7, there's no way to pretend you don't hear it. Every prediction and every clip becomes ammunition and push them to grind harder and prove a lot of people wrong. That's the dangerous part for the rest of the league. When a roster buys into the head coach, trusts the locker room, and still plays with that "nobody believes in us" chip, you create a competitive monster that's hard to slow down. Chaisson made it clear. This team is not satisfied. They don't look at the record and relax. They look at the next game, the next week, always acting like they still have a lot to prove. Christian Ellis backed that up. He talked about playing with that chip, that weight on your shoulder that doesn't crush you, it drives you. And we saw exactly that in prime time against the Giants on Monday Night Football. The defense flying around, the linebackers setting the tone, the team playing with the energy of a group that wants to shut everybody up with pads and helmets, not with quotes. It's not just about stats, it's about attitude. Big picture. The Patriots walk into Week 15 with a chance to lock up the AFC East at home against the Buffalo Bills at Gillette Stadium. 2 years ago, this team was treated like a punchline. Now they're one win away from forcing half the NFL to eat their preseason predictions, and they've already blown past every expert projection from the offseason, earning something that doesn't show up on the stat sheet: real respect. With this culture, this emotional toughness, and a roster getting stronger week after week, 2025 looks less like a surprise and more like the first chapter of a new phase in Foxborough. Inside that storyline, there's one case that perfectly sums up the Mike Vrabel Patriots. A rookie who wasn't drafted, wasn't hyped, and is now outproducing the second overall pick in sacks. Elijah Ponder, the guy who showed up quietly, is now making offensive coordinators lose sleep. While Abdul Carter over in New York has 1.5 sacks through 13 games, Ponder already has 3, all of them in his last 4 games. On Monday night against those same Giants under the lights, he wasn't just a body in the rotation. He was the third edge rusher behind K'Lavon Chaisson and Harold Landry, but he played 29 defensive snaps, more than half of the total on that side of the ball. He brought juice off the edge, chased plays down, and finished. He took Jackson Dart down for another sack and still made a big impact on special teams, falling on a loose ball after a huge hit from Christian Ellis and Marte Mapu on Gunnar Olszewski. The coaching staff sees it. Outside linebackers coach Mike Smith said Ponder still has plenty of technique to clean up, but called him a great find and made it clear the Patriots were lucky to land him. That's the kind of under-the-radar acquisition that used to define New England for years, now returning under a new staff and a team that wins while developing raw talent. Ponder came into training camp fighting for his football life, knowing LSU rookie Braden Swinson was technically the favorite to stick on the 53. But once the preseason started and the pads popped, it was the undrafted kid who seized the moment. He earned snaps, earned trust, and ended up on the active roster. Right now he's not a superstar, and he's not the jersey every kid is buying yet, but this is exactly the type of player that holds up a defense over a 17-game grind. If he's already doing this as a rookie, coming in through specific packages and carving out more snaps week by week, Imagine his ceiling if he keeps growing inside the structure Vrabel is building. The Patriots may have found another nightmare coming off the edge. While the defense reshapes itself with finds like Ponder, the offense has a different issue. They still need that true elite superstar. That's where a possibility comes in that shocked a lot of people when it first popped up. Justin Jefferson, one of the very best wide receivers in football, could be a real target for the New England Patriots. This isn't just some random social media rumor. There are analysts looking at the situation and saying it makes sense for Foxborough to jump into that kind of race. So let me throw it back to you, Patriots fans. Would you go all in for a generational playmaker? The logic is simple. Almost 2 decades of picking near the bottom of the first round plus late-era Belichick draft misses left the roster with few true blue-chip players. Drake Maye is the face of the franchise and an MVP candidate. But if you look at the receivers, you don't see anyone in Jefferson's tier. That's why people are out there defending a heavy package. 2 first-round picks, 2026 and 2027, to pull Jefferson out of a bad situation and drop him into a rising offense. The question they ask is brutal for draft romantics. What are the real odds the Patriots find a better player than Justin Jefferson with those 2 picks? If this team keeps winning, they'll be picking late anyway, far away from the elite prospects. So what matters more? The security of having a 26-year-old superstar in his prime, or the hope of hitting the draft lottery? Of course, this would push against Mike Vrabel's current philosophy. Up to now, he's run a slow, methodical rebuild, stacking a deep, well-balanced roster. Giving up 2 first-rounders is a major detour from that path. But how many times in a franchise's life do you get a real shot at pairing a quarterback of the future with a receiver who forces every defensive coordinator to rip up the game plan? Picture Drake Maye breaking the huddle, reading the coverage, with Justin Jefferson split out wide, Stephon Diggs on the other side, and the rest of the skill group filling in around them. Passing windows that already exist suddenly become huge. Defenses would be forced to pick their poison, and most weeks there would be no antidote. It's the type of move that sends a clear message to the entire league. The Patriot way just evolved. It's still about culture and work, but now it comes with a fully unleashed superstar mode on offense, aimed straight at another Lombardi. And while that dream of adding a superstar weapon fires up the imagination, there's another conversation that has already turned into daily fuel in the locker room: the MVP race. If, before the season, someone had told you Drake Maye would be leading that discussion before Week 13, most people would have laughed. Not because he lacked talent, but because almost nobody believed the Patriots would climb this high this fast. The reality: they're 11-2, on top of the AFC, on top of the NFL, with a 23-year-old quarterback running everything with real poise. Outside New England, the narrative tries to push another name. A lot of people are riding with Matthew Stafford, citing a tougher schedule, experience, volume stats, touchdown totals. To undercut what Maye is doing, they fell back on the "look at the Patriots' easy schedule" argument. This time, though, a respected analytics voice stepped in with numbers and context. Computer Cowboy, well known on X for his data work, basically took that whole argument apart in a few posts. He laid it out. Even when you adjust for strength of schedule, Maye is still delivering elite production, carrying the offense, sustaining long drives, and lifting the level of everyone around him. Then comes the part that really stings for the critics. If Drake had Stafford's group of receivers, with weapons like Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, his numbers would be even more explosive. Even with Stephon Diggs in New England, the Patriots don't have the same loaded receiver room the Rams enjoy. Meanwhile, that tougher schedule talking point for Stafford just took a hit. The Rams lost in ugly fashion to the Carolina Panthers, with Stafford throwing a pick-6, getting strip-sacked, and putting together a rough performance. That's the same Panthers team the Patriots destroyed 42-13 back in Week 4. It gets harder to say it's just the schedule when your guy stumbles badly against an opponent New England dominated. More and more, this award feels like something very simple. It's Drake Maye's to lose. If he keeps this level, if he shows up again in Week 15 against the Bills in a game that can basically lock in a high playoff seed and maybe the division, it'll be nearly impossible to ignore him. And if that happens at home in Foxborough with Gillette Stadium rocking, maybe the rest of the league will finally admit what we already know. The Empire is back, and this time it has an MVP leading the charge. Patriots fans, look at the picture we've got. A team that turned disrespect into fuel, found a hidden gem no one was watching, is flirting with a bold move for an offensive superstar, and has a 23-year-old quarterback at the center of the MVP race. That's not luck. That's a new foundation. Now I want to hear from you. Would you go all in for Justin Jefferson or keep those first-round picks? Do you think Drake has already locked up the MVP? Or does he still need that statement win against Buffalo? Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and stick with us as we follow this new era in Foxborough and chase the next Lombardis together.